Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Toronto, Consensus 2025 by CoinDesk. Joining me for this segment, we have Rugg. She's global head of digital assets, treasury, and trade solutions at Citi. We're here to discuss the adoption of blockchain and digital asset technologies and how that's playing a crucial role for the future of financial markets. It is great to have you with us, Ryan. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks, Jill. Appreciate you having me.
Tell us about Citi's approach to tokenized assets and the capabilities, how it's allowing you to evolve payments and liquidity clients.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a two-pronged approach with everything that we're building. One is we're updating our traditional infrastructure with solutions like 24/7 Spring by Citi, but we're also looking at more innovative solutions like blockchain and what we built with Citi Token Service. So within Citi Token Service, we either build, buy, or partner. We recognize we're not going to build all the solutions ourselves. So we're also partnering with the industry experts and partners out there like SDX recently announced, and also investing. Our venture team has numerous investments in this space. So as it evolves to making sure that we have kind of that three-prong approach, it's ensuring that we have the best solutions for our clients.
Yeah. How does the adoption of digital assets and blockchain technologies, how do you see that as framing and advancing the future of financial markets?
Yeah, so I've been in this space for 10 plus years, which is like dog years.
A long time.
And I started out my career in this space, building our own protocol. At the time we were at R3, we started out as a consortium, we were building out Porta, and I was employee number 20. So I got to do everything from, sweep the floors to help raise 127 million Series A to really helping define the architects, the go-to-market, and how we're going to work with business. Fast forward, went to IBM, understand how do these large global system integrators implement and scale this technology at an enterprise level? How do they really scale a technology across? And had a ton of really, interesting, different use cases that we did. During COVID, we launched Excelsior Pass. I don't know if you're in New York, but it was during COVID, an identity wallet, right? To be able to reopen the borders in New York so that people would go out to various CBDC projects to, I joined Citi 2.5 years ago. So I wanted to be able to come inside a large enterprise and understand the pain points that our clients have. And right now I'm focused on large multinationals. We serve the top Fortune 500 companies out there. We move $5 trillion a day. Mm-hmm. But there are in the traditional systems, there are, bank holidays, there's banking hours, 9 to 5. There's still friction in the system. So how do we rethink about the way that financial services is wired to be 24/7, 365? So the speed of money matches the speed of the internet. And that's really what I've been focused on the last 2.5 years, is launching Citi Token Service and having our large multinationals.
Which is interesting because your background's so diverse. It's not like you plugged and played into a financial institution. So it really shows how blockchain can be applied across multiple industries and multiple use cases. How is banking infrastructure adapting to evolving client needs? Because in the past, the bank was like, okay, this is what you need. And now clients are largely driving that.
100%. And I think that, when I first entered in this place, when we were back at R3, we thought we were going to disrupt the incumbents, right? Everything is going to be disintermediated. There's no need for third parties. It's really reminiscent of what happened in the early 2000s with fintechs and payment intermediaries. Mm-hmm. Think about how it was regulation was kind of not clear yet. They started getting regulated. Initially, they were going to disintermediate the incumbents. It's actually very, homogeneous now. We work together. They need traditional banking services. They need bank accounts. They need to be able to do, FX. They need to move money. We're in 90 plus countries around the world. So I see it very similar. Everything we do though is based on our client demand. So I've taken, again, page from my history. Mm-hmm. It's really driven by what our clients want. When I was at R3, we did hundreds of proofs of concepts. Hundreds. And then same thing at IBM. And some of them went to production, some of them didn't. We're here really building based on what clients need. So every new corridor we add. So right now we're live in US, UK, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And that was very strategic. We targeted the largest kind of money hubs, mm-hmm. and also the ones with the most friction. So if you think it's 5 p.m. in New York on Friday, it's 5 a.m. in Singapore. So you typically could not move money. And I also very strategically, started with cash, fiat. If you can't tokenize cash, which is arguably one of the most simple asset classes, mm-hmm. how are you going to tokenize other assets? How are you going to do that? So like, because when I was at, R3, we always had to go back to the TradFi rails to settle. So like starting with like this cash component, I think was really important also.
That goes back to the point that you made right at the jump, that it requires, 3 different key areas to make this happen. This way, you have the nimbleness of companies that have already developed this technology, and then the scalability of an institution like Citi. My last question is, how are you ensuring compliance when you're operating in multiple frameworks, multiple jurisdictions? We're still trying to figure out what the framework looks like here.
I mean, as a highly regulated institution, everything we do is because we focus on stability, scalability, and safety and soundness, like immediately. So everything from, the internal normal checks and balances that a large enterprise has, like Citi, but enhanced. We have additional digital asset risk management goals. We have additional risk enterprise risk. We have additional, to make sure the framework, as well as working in tandem with the regulators. Like, learning from my days at, IBM, like where we had promontory and like, some of my good friends worked there, like it is an education process, and making sure they're in early and often to understand what you're building, making sure that, at the heart, client interest, consumer safety is what we're focused on, is really important. So it's like, I think we work in tandem with them, and every branch that we launch CTS in, Citi Token Service, we are also getting regulatory, kind of guidance in that region from the regulators also. And I think that's important as you kind of starts to scale. Like, you don't want to have a large platform scaling and then all of a sudden, it's to be shut down. Like, we want to make sure that we're doing this in a very thoughtful and conservative way, to be honest.
All right, Ryan, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me from Consensus. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.